Connect World here on CNN. Hala, thank you for that. Now, to the fight for the hearts and minds of the Pakistani people. On the one side, Taliban extremists. On the other, Muslims calling for moderation. We're going to hear from the Pakistani Interior Minister on his government's moves to crush the militants. I spoke to him here in the UK, where mosques are importing what they call moderate imams to try and counter fundamentalist preachers from Pakistan. Those are our connections tonight. Our senior international correspondent, Nick Robertson, kicks them off with the fallout from a murder.
Almost 2 weeks after his killing, Pakistan's leading anti-Taliban cleric is still being mourned. Students at his prestigious religious school in Lahore keep vigil at his graveside. Politicians, clerics and other well-wishers come in droves to pay their respects to his son, Maulana Naimi. The killing has become a watershed moment, convincing many to end years of tolerance of the Taliban. Late last year, Mullah Naimi's father headed a large gathering of Muslim clerics. Together, they issued a religious ruling, a fatwa, declaring that suicide bombing was unlawful and not justified under Islam.
Father was sitting here.
Naimi has no doubt the Taliban killed his father, sending a suicide bomber to do it.
He came in from this door and he stood here and he asked who is Dr. Sarfraz Naimi.
So he didn't even know who your father was when he came?
He don't know. Then he went down on knee position and he blasted himself.
4 students and workers also died in the tiny office. Naimi says the stakes are too high to abandon his father's fight against the Taliban.
Anarchy will spread out all over the country, and these Taliban will harm the lives of people.
Naimi's influence spreads way beyond the confines of this madrasa. In Lahore alone, his father established over 100 schools with up to 100,000 students and many more across the rest of the country.
Basic aim of my father's mission is to support morally Pakistan army to put down these militants.
Naimi's classroom appears to be a new crucible of resistance to Taliban extremism, but their teachings aren't in support of US and NATO troops in Afghanistan.
These suicide bombing, we always condemn in Pakistan. But in Afghanistan or in other country where Muslims were attacked by someone else, there the concept of suicide bombing is different.
In this one madrasa, clues to defeating the Taliban and an education in how long it may take. Nick Robertson, CNN, Lahore, Pakistan.
All right, and you can see on the Connect line, we're going from Pakistan to the UK now, which is taking a new tack when it comes to educating Muslims against jihadi propaganda. Well, the country inviting what it calls moderate Muslim clerics over from Asia, particularly from Pakistan, effectively importing imams to preach in British mosques. Now, the idea is to combat fundamentalism in the very place that it's developing, in prison schools and in universities. But it's estimated that 9 out of 10 imams who are working in Britain are already from overseas, and young Muslims here, the ones at highest risk of radicalisation, finding it hard to relate to their religious leaders because of the cultural gulf between them. Well, this is an initiative supported by the British government, but is it supported by Britain's clerics? Well, that is a question I put to Abdullah Hassan. He is an imam associated with a mosque in East London, where I caught up with him earlier before evening prayers.
If they're going to import imams from Pakistan or Bangladesh or any other country, the imams do not really know about the community that they'll be living in Great Britain. They don't know about the concerns and the aspirations the Muslim youth have. I think, in my opinion, and the vast majority of the Muslim community in Britain, they think that, this is something, another game the government is playing.
The British government, the US government and other governments are looking to develop a narrative from clerics, which is less war on terror and more moderate, as some politicians might suggest. How should they go about doing that?
I mean, again, we have to understand what is moderate, you know. How should they do that? Because, as I mentioned, they need to support mainstream Muslim organizations. We have institutional organizations such as the Muslim Council of Britain. They are working on the grassroots level. They are working with the youth. They are working with the women folk. They are working at all levels. They need to provide resources and funding to these people. And they have imams who are supporting them. They have mainstream imams who are supporting them, not by importing imams from outside.
Do you buy the argument that there was, is, and will continue to be a developing strand of fundamentalism being taught in British mosques?
The vast majority of the imams and scholars who study in this country and abroad, they are conveying the true and balanced moderate Islam. The government is trying to, keep away from them. Why aren't the government approaching them, approaching people like MCB and other institutions who can provide some, practical example and practical help to the government?
Hassan speaking to me earlier, well, the vast majority of British Muslims have a Pakistani heritage. No surprise, then, that the UK is keeping a close eye on Pakistan's South Waziristan region. That is where Taliban leader Baitullah Masood is believed to be hiding out and where the next military offensive against the insurgency is expected. Well, the connections don't stop there, though. They reach all the way to Washington. Earlier, I asked Pakistani Interior Minister Rehman Malik how much pressure his country received from Washington to eliminate the Taliban.
I totally deny there is any push from Washington. We are an independent sovereign state with 100% guarantee. I tell you, this is the sole decision of the government of Pakistan. So I take a rebut this impression that perhaps America is dictating. Nobody can dictate us. We are a nuclear state. We have our sovereignty, and we know how to defend our country. We have been defending in the past. And I assure you, this insurgency which has started, we have the will, we have the ability, and with all our meager resources, we have taken them on, and we will flush them out, we will eliminate them.
This is about winning hearts and minds at this point, isn't it? How do you explain, then, the US drone attacks and the damage as a result of those?
I condemn today the entire country, the entire population, every Pakistani condemns the attack through drones. Everybody has passed a unanimous bill saying no to drones. I think US must pay some ear to it, because when there is a voice of the people of Pakistan, the voice of the masses, America must listen to it. But what negotiation we have done so far, America is willing to give us the technology, and we are negotiating, and hopefully we will get that technology. We want to do it ourselves. When we do the drone and our boots on the ground, the action and the support of the people of Pakistan will be there.
Will the military stake its reputation on killing Baitullah Masood in South Waziristan?
Well, we are looking for him, and we have been looking for him. And of course, this is a difficult area, and as and when we get, he will meet his fate. He is not going to be spared.
How would you characterize the ISI's relationship with the Taliban, which we know to have been a close relationship in the past?
Let me tell you, yes, there was allegation in the past, and there is no doubt about it that Taliban had been fighting in the past, where Pakistan had been helping years and years back. U-turn was taken by President Musharraf, right or wrong, but fact remains that Taliban were being supported by the previous regimes. The decision as our government is not to support. I categorically deny any relationship of ISI with Taliban to the extent of support or any kind of fight or giving them any support in terms of military or something. You know, we are the one who have destroyed anywhere we came to know that there is any connection of Afghani Talibans like Maulana Namdar. And we have taken operations in Orakzai, we have taken operations in the Khyber, and we have smashed them.
Pakistan Interior Minister Rehman Malik there. You have a look at the different ways of waging a war on extremism from the border regions of Pakistan, where classrooms could become a new crucible of resistance to Taliban radicalism, to Britain's mosques, which are importing what they call moderate imams from South Asia to push back against jihadi propaganda. Well, usually you have to pick